Boston Bruins rookie camp began on Wednesday, and it was players that weren't in attendance that garnered the most attention.
You're Locked On Bruins, your daily podcast on the Boston Bruins, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Bruins fans, and welcome back to the Locked On Boston Bruins podcast. I'm your host, Ian McLaren, and this is a daily show where we discuss all things Spoke to Be. Today is Thursday, September 12th, and I want to thank you so much for making Locked On Bruins part of your day every day, free and available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Before we get started, a quick reminder, you can find the podcast on social media at Locked NHL Bruins, and you can find me, my hockey thoughts, dad jokes, at Ian C. McLaren. We are less than a week away from the start of Boston Bruins training camp, and before that takes place, we have the rookie camp and the prospects challenge, which will take place this coming weekend in Buffalo. And we'll run down who is there and who to watch later on in the podcast. But what was most notable on Wednesday was the players who were not in attendance. Immediately, Matt Poitras came to mind. He's not there as he recovers from shoulder surgery and is pretty much penciled in to make the NHL roster, or maybe start the season in the AHL as he kind of gets back into game shape if he's not there already. But a couple of players who either have yet to make their NHL debuts or just got a taste last season in Fabian Lysell, Georgii Merkulov were left off the roster for the rookie camp as they prepare for main camp, which will begin next Wednesday. And Providence head coach Ryan Muganel said when big camp opens, they want them extremely ready. And that is with regards to Lysell and Merkulov and management's decision to keep them out of the rookie camp. Not that the rookie camp wouldn't be that for them, Muganel added, but you can get dinged up a little bit. Lysell, by all classifications, is a rookie. He's eligible for the Prospects Challenge, but he will not be heading to Buffalo. Last season, Matt Poitras, Johnny Beecher, Mason Lohrei participated in the tournament. Soon thereafter, Poitras and Beecher made the big club. They were kind of dark horse candidates to do so. Lysell really isn't. And Fluto Shinzawa of The Athletic posited 5 good reasons why the third-year pro hockey player has a very good chance of making the NHL roster here in a few weeks. One of them, of course, is the fact that he's cheap. The Bruins, right up against the cap with Jeremy Swayman's contract set to take up most, if not all or more, of the $8.6 million in available cap space. Lysell, in the second season of an ELC that pays him $863,000 at the NHL level. I've got him in my salary cap keeper league, hoping that he makes the team so that I can get some good value out of him. The more entry-level deals the Bruins can carry, the more flexibility they'll have to execute a trade perhaps at the deadline for bigger fish. So that's one of the reasons why he may very likely crack the team. And the Bruins need him. Don't forget, they lost Jake DeBrusk. They lost Danton Heinen. James Van Riemsdyk, not looking like he's going to be back. We'll touch on him later in the podcast. DeBrusk was the Bruins' 5th highest scorer last season with 40 points. 5th among forwards with an average ice time of 16 minutes and 50 seconds. Heinen wasn't that far behind with 36 points. The Bruins averaged only 3.21 goals per game last season, which was 13th. They're looking for offense, and this guy can bring it in spades. And he could step into a good spot alongside Brad Marchand and Charlie Coyle. They're demanding line mates, grizzled veterans who have seen everything there is to see at the NHL level. They draw hard matchups, and they require their winger to be hard on pucks and in the right spots. They could teach him a lot about what it means to play at the NHL level. And Marchand, as quoted by Fluto, said, just because you're a skill guy doesn't mean you're going to earn that spot, because you can dangle through three guys. You've got to be able to be very responsible defensively, especially playing with Coyle and Marchand. They play both sides of the puck and play against a lot of teams' top lines. It's as much about being strong defensively as it is offensive, end quote. And you'll recall last year, that was one of the criticisms of Lysell, specifically from Ryan Muganol, who said, you can't do it all on your own here at the pro level. You have to be smart with the puck, be smart without the puck, and there's no better teammates to teach him how to play that kind of way than Marchand and Coyle. And they can also insulate him when inevitable mistakes come up, because he is still very young, very raw, and coming in as a rookie. But there's a clear opportunity there on the right wing. Don Sweeney didn't sign anybody to play there. Yes, Tyler Johnson's coming in on a PTO, but very unlikely that he would be able to hang on that line at this point in his career. Probably it was more we bring him in to maybe play third line center in the event that Morgan Geekie moves up or Matt Patra starts in the AHL. Both Geekie and Frederic can play next to Marchand and Coyle, but they might be better served playing on the third line to spread out the offense and maybe continue that chemistry that they showed with Justin Brazeau last season. Lysell, he's fast enough to make himself available for scoring chances when Marchand and Coyle recover pucks. His speed could stretch out the defense and give Marchand and Coyle more room. Or they could ease him in as the third line right wing and bump Brazeau up to the second line. I don't know. That might be a stretch. Or have Geekie or Frederic move up to the second line as well. It gives them more flexibility. But without a doubt, Lysell is ready. Last March, before getting injured, he had 7 points in a 5-game scoring streak. Then he was hurt. He injured his shoulder. Had it not been for those injuries, he would have already played up at the NHL level. Don Sweeney said that at the end of the season media availability. He's got the speed, the skill, and he's quite ready to make the jump after 2 years at the pro level. Don Sweeney said he knows how well he can play. He knows how much they were proud of the steps that he took last season. He had a good camp last year. He's got to continue to work on his complete game, one-on-one skill stuff, and some of the stuff he can do to change a game are really good, end quote. So it's all there for Fabian Lysell to take a spot. Now, Georgii Merkulov also has an opportunity. We all remember him being called up last season. Didn't go super well, but he wasn't really put in a position to succeed playing third line, fourth line. So I'm very interested to see how both of those guys, but surely Lysell as a first-round pick, high pedigree, high skill level. He's got the inside track to make this team, and I'm very much rooting for him. Would have liked to have seen him kind of carve up these rookies. That would have been fun, but I love the mentality of being ready for the NHL camp and doing everything you can to seize that opportunity. Now, what guys do you want to keep an eye on at rookie camp? Well, we'll discuss that here as the podcast continues. If you're looking to hire, there's no better place to turn for help than Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to their data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. They don't just help you find candidates faster either. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the best quality matches compared to other job sites. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/lockedon. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now. Support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on Locked On Boston Bruins. That's Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Thank you so much once again for making Locked On Bruins part of your daily routine. For your next listen, check out Locked On NHL. It provides you with a national perspective on all things NHL each and every day, with national experts and local insight on every team in the league. It's available on YouTube or wherever you get podcasts. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Now, I'm not going to run through the list of all the players who are at the rookie camp, but I did want to pinpoint 2 or 3 that you should keep an eye on. These rookies practiced on Wednesday. They're going to practice again here on Thursday morning before heading to Buffalo for the annual Prospects Challenge. And there's some interesting names that have an outside chance of earning a spot on the Bruins roster. One of them is forward Riley Duran. He played the last 4 seasons at Providence College. Went to Providence for 11 games with the AHL Bruins after his collegiate career came to an end. He had 2 goals, 2 assists in that short stint, which is pretty impressive, just jumping right in. And over the summer, general manager Don Sweeney said, yeah, keep an eye on Duran as a guy who could challenge those around him for a roster spot. Duran on Wednesday, and this is per Lauren Campbell of Mass Live. Duran said, Sweeney said that if you work hard enough, the Bruins will make room for you. You have to play hard and play your own game. He said, I play my own brand. I don't have to change anything up, maybe just a couple of things body position wise. But besides that, I play my own game and hopefully everything works out. Riley Duran, again, a guy with an outside chance of cracking the roster. Although when you look at the forward core, and I did that a couple of days ago, it's going to be, tough to crack because there are a lot of options, but he's a physical 2-way forward with good hands, has some playmaking ability, and, it's kind of a long shot as a 6th round pick in 2020, but he's a guy that could surprise as a rookie here in camp. Another guy to keep an eye on is John Farinacci. He spent last season in Providence after 3 years at Harvard, and he too is ready to take another step in his career. He said on Wednesday, developing his game in Providence last year and over the summer in training at Warrior was huge for him. Going in there, showing them his game and what he can do, building off last year, that's his goal. And again, Farinacci is another player that has an outside shot of making the team, if not maybe being an early call-up in the event of injury. Now, Dauber Prospects considers him a skilled offensive player. He plays a strong 200-foot game and has good leadership qualities. Those are all the things that the Bruins value. In August, they wrote Farinacci finished his college career as the captain of Harvard University, where he produced 20 points in 19 games. He played all last season for Providence as a free agent pickup, and he scored 38 points in 71 games, which showed he was not excelling, but also didn't seem out of place. He's known to be a 2-way forward, strong on the faceoff, and although the center position is kind of jammed with the acquisition of Elias Lindholm, Farinacci will try to make an impression during training camp and will most likely be competing against Georgii Merkulov and John Beecher to get a spot on the 4th line. and is likely to make the roster during the upcoming season, pending injuries. So pretty high praise there for Farinacci, who will be an early call-up. And Ryan Muganel praised him as a go-to guy for the team down the stretch. And he was also praised for how smart he is hockey-wise. Another guy to keep an eye on is Frederic Brunet. This defenseman made some strides in his first AHL season, and he too is looking to make another big step. He had 2 goals, 10 assists, and 48 games for Providence, and he said he's not going to be surprised anymore about the quality of play and the quality of guys in the AHL. He said that after playing last season and recognizing the physical game and how it ups from the QMJHL to the AHL. He says he needs to take a step in his game. His defense is probably going to have to take a huge step this year, and he is ready for that. He's been working hard all summer to improve his defense, get stronger on the puck, and the 21-year-old is hopeful to at least get into the Bruins preseason game coming up in Quebec City, where they will take on the Los Angeles Kings, I believe. He said it'd be pretty cool to play in that game. He's a Quebec City native. If it happens, it's going to be unreal. If it doesn't, though, he's not going to be mad about it. Another guy, Trevor Kuntar, he spent last season in Providence, and he's looking to come in, make an impression in his own right. He's another pretty long shot to make the team. But these are, again, we look at the Bruins prospect pool. It's not the deepest, but he's a big, strong center with a quick, accurate shot. He excels in dirty areas, but can also drive the play on offense. 10 goals, 10 assists for 20 points in 70 games last season. Not numbers that are going to blow you away, but he has a pro-ready body, and the Bruins have a lack of prospect depth. So he's a guy that could, at some point, see some NHL action for the Boston Bruins. Those are 4 guys to keep an eye on. Farinacci, Riley Duran, Brunet, and oh my gosh, who was the last guy that I meant? Kuntar. Those are 4 guys you want to keep an eye on here over the weekend at the Prospects Challenge. Now, main camp is coming up next week. There's another PTO candidate for the Bruins that is off the table, and we'll update that here as the podcast continues. The NFL is back. NHL is just around the corner, and if you're looking to get tickets for your next game, concert, comedy show, theater near you, Game Time has the best picks. They have a new feature called Game Time Picks, in fact, that makes getting tickets for your favorite live event even easier. They filter out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. I love the panoramic seat view, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive at the venue, and your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Just download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. But again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase, because what time is it? Well, folks, it is game time. We know that Tyler Johnson will be at Bruins camp on a PTO. There was a couple other guys that I had kind of thought would be worth taking a look at. One of them was Filip Zadina, who signed with a Swiss team last week and will obviously not be continuing his NHL career for the time being. Another guy was Kailer Yamamoto, and he has signed a PTO with Utah. Again, the Bruins need more depth up front. They're looking for scoring wingers, and while they're going to give Fabian Lysell every opportunity, Yamamoto is a guy who should have been at least on their radar. He could be a solid player for the Bruins to take a look at in free agency, in training camp. 25 years old, 59 games last season with 8 goals, 8 assists. A down year for the 2017 first-round pick, but he did have 10 goals, 15 assists the previous season, and in 2021-22, he had 20 goals, 21 assists in 81 games. So he can produce at the NHL level and could bounce back with Utah, but while the Bruins did not bring in Yamamoto, they do have Tyler Johnson coming in, and who knows? There could be some other guys. There was the report about Blake Wheeler a couple weeks ago, along with Yamamoto. Obviously, that has sailed in terms of the ladder, but according to Murat Atez of the Athletic NHL in Winnipeg, Blake Wheeler is processing right now. He still not signed. Not quite sure what the future holds, whether it's a contract, a PTO, or retirement. He did have 21 points in 54 games last season for the Rangers prior to being injured, and then came back and played in Game 4 of the playoffs against the Florida Panthers. There's word that James Van Riemsdyk continues to assess his options as well and will likely jump in somewhere on a PTO. I've been wondering whether or not the Bruins might circle back on him when Swayman is signed. So those are some names to keep an eye on. But at the moment, Yamamoto's gone. Tyler Johnson will be in. And that's all we have at the moment in terms of PTOs for Bruins training camp, which will begin on Wednesday. That's it for today's episode of Locked On Boston Bruins, my friends. Thank you so much for taking some time to check it out. Really no updates as well on Jeremy Swayman that I am aware of. Still in a holding pattern. The last we heard, Darren Dreger said it seems closer than we think. And it's a situation that a lot of people are keeping an eye on. And Swayman had said before that he doesn't want to mess up the market for goalies who will be coming due later. And Igor Shesterkin will be a new or free agent next summer. Surely he's waiting to see what happens with Swayman. If Swayman gets in the 8 to 10 million range, safe to assume Shesterkin will command that, if not more, than Swayman. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for all the latest when it comes to the Bruins. Any breaking news, I'll post a short up there. And please do subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast app. Check out Locked On NHL podcast next. And do have a great day, friends. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And we'll talk to you again here on the next episode of Locked On Boston Bruins.